Hello, everyone. My name is Shanshan Lu I'm a PhD candidate from Bajajara University. Today, I would like to present a conceptual paper entitled Institutional Resilience and the Governance Mechanism in Conflict-Prone Land Governance. Land governance is often characterized by overlapping claims, fragmented authorities, and recurring dispute. Yet, governance systems often continue functioning while others may experience escalation or deadlock or breakdown. Some research explain this continuity from the perspective of institutional resilience capacity. However, similar capacity do not necessarily produce same outcomes. Therefore, this study argued that greater attention should be given to the governance mechanisms through which capacity shape. Existing research generally follow two separate streams. The first stream focuses on institutional resilience capacity, and the second focuses on governance processes. But this study explain either institutional resilience or institutional resilience capacity or governance processes. However, they pay less attention on how capacity shape the governance processes and how these mechanisms are linked to resilience capacities. The central argument of my paper is that institutional resilience shouldn't be understood only a set of capacity. Instead, institutional resilience become meaningful when capacity are translated into governance process. To explain this process, I distinguish the two functions: activation and stabilization. Activation expands and organizes the stakeholder incorporation into government interaction, and stabilization sustains the government interaction. Therefore, the focus of the study is not simply on capacity themselves, but on the mechanisms through which capacity operates. My framework consists of three layers. The first layer represents the institutional resilience capacity, and including learning, buffering, and adaptive. The three capacities are conducted from my recent system literature review. And the second layer is mechanisms, and the third layer is the outcome of governance performance. So the framework moves from capacity to mechanism to the outcomes. And the framework also introduces a differentiation pathway perspective. Learning, buffering, and adaptive capacity are accepted to contribute through different governance mechanisms. Within this framework, participation functions as an activation mechanism. Learning capacity support activation by reduce uncertainty and improving institutional intelligibility. Adaptive capacity also support activation by allowing institutions to adjust the participation procedures in response to changing stakeholder demands. And conflict management function as a stabilization mechanism. Buffer capacity contributes by providing resources, flexibility, and organizational support. Adaptive capacity contributes by allowing institutions to revise the decision and avoid the governance deadlock. Together, this capacity helps sustain governance interaction under conflict pressure. And another key argument of my paper is that the resilience capacity do not operate like uniform. Instead, they follow differentiation the governance pathway. Learning capacity primarily actives participatory governance, and the buffering capacity primarily stabilize the conflict management process, and the adaptive capacity operates across both mechanisms. This perspective moves beyond treating resilience as a single aggregative capacity and provide a more differentiated explanation of how institutional resilience capacity operate in practice. The study makes three contributions. First, it conceptualized the institutional resilience as a governance processes, not merely a collective of capacities. And the second, it distinguished the activation and stabilization as two analytical distinct governance functions. And the last one is it introduced a differentiation pathway perspective showing that different capacity contribute to government through different institutional mechanisms. Together, this contribution provides a more process-oriented understanding of resilience in conflict-prone governance context. For practice implications, first, conflict should not be viewed as an abnormal condition. In conflict-prone land governance, conflict is an inherent governance condition. Second, the improving governance outcomes require more than participation alone. Participation actives interaction, but conflict management stabilizes the interaction. And finally, governance continuity not depends on balancing the activation and the stabilization mechanism. To conclude, this paper argues that the governance continuity depends not only on institutional capacity, but also on how these capacities are translated into institutionalized governance mechanism. By distinguish the activation and stabilization, this framework provides a process-oriented explanation of how institutional resilience contribute to governance continuity under persistent conflict. Okay, thank you very much. I look for your question.